In my latest video I looked at Kyle Adams' so-called flat earth debate on a local library. I will have a quick look once again on that dumpster fire. Today he's talking about navigation. Navigation, especially astronomical navigation, is quite popular among flat earthers. So, of course, Kyle will have a try on using navigation to prove that Earth is flat.
The Earth is pear-shaped, according to Neil deGrasse Tyson. And you'll find it interesting that it's not just Neil Tyson making that claim to the pear-shapedness Earth. Okay? This is right out of here out of my high school textbook. It's saying that the Earth is not a perfect sphere. But that's kind of weird because latitude and longitude, the lines, those lines describe a perfect sphere. So this already is an admission, okay? An admission that latitude and longitude are wrong.
Oh dear, the diameter at the equator is about 42 kilometers larger than the diameter at the poles. And the Earth's diameter at the equator is about 12,700 kilometers.
Textbook. A sextant can be used to determine latitude and longitude by celestial navigation. It says you use a sextant, and you can use that to determine your latitude and longitude by putting it at the sun or at the North Star, Polaris.
This will be interesting. Kyle trying to explain sextants. There are 57 navigation stars. In the northern hemisphere, the North Star can be used to easily determine latitude, but it cannot be used to determine longitude. So the North Star is therefore not considered a true navigation star.
Now, it said we could do the same thing with the sun. I want you to take a look at this. Okay, this is during a solar eclipse. Okay, this is called the path of totality. And here we got, that's kind of the circular shadow of the moon that crosses the Earth. And when you stand under the moon's shadow, every single person under that moon's shadow, they're all going to point up to the moon, which is the same size as the sun, and they're all going to say, oh yeah, that's directly above me. Okay? Right above my head, directly above me. But look how wide that shadow is. Okay, that shadow is about 300 miles wide. Okay, that's a huge margin of error. If you're trying to say that latitude and longitude based off the stars and the sun can give you pinpoint precision, that's a big margin of error.
When you navigate using a sextant, you measure the angle to the sun. Do he really believe that in that area he's pointing out you have the same angle to the sun?
Look how fast this guy's running. This guy is supposed to be the fastest treadmill runner out there. This treadmill is about, what is it, 26? How fast is that treadmill going? $26 miles? Do you think he's actually going 26 miles an hour? Pay attention to this because this is kind of a big deal. He's not going anywhere. He's taking his feet, he's running real fast. You know? But he's staying right there. He's not running 26 miles an hour.
Oh dear, it's in reference to the surface he's running on. What a fool.
Now, let's pay attention to that when it comes to determining how many of you guys know about nautical miles. You got one person who knows about nautical miles. This is how you determine how fast you're going with nautical miles. Okay? But think about that treadmill as we look at this. Okay. That is historically how sailors have determined their speed out on the ocean. Nautical miles, counting the knots in the rope. Okay?
And is that any kind of proof of a flat Earth?
If you're using that for navigation, you can't, it's not the same thing as with a car. You can't just say, I'm going to travel east, going 25 miles an hour, and I expect to be 25 miles, I know I'm going to be there 25 miles later, distance, if I'm doing that in the car. It does not work on the ocean, okay? Because you have to take into account how fast that water is moving. Okay? If you're going against the current, you're no different than that guy on the treadmill. You're running really fast, but you're not going anywhere.
Oh dear, it's very simple to determine the current. You can measure it in the same way that he measured his speed on the boat.
Okay, and it's not just the water, okay, but it's also the air current. You get a good air current going with you.
Air current? Do we mean wind? You can measure the wind too, Kyle.
Yeah, you get a good air current going with you, that's going to speed you up. And so if you're trying to make maps based off of dead reckoning here, you're going to have some major problems, okay? Huge problems when it comes to determining your distance.
Yes, it was hard to be precise when you didn't see land. But with astronomical navigation, if you compared two measurements perhaps 12 hours apart, you could quite exact calculate what speed you have traveled.
Okay, so there's problems with the ocean. And it's interesting today that even today, with our modern GPS, we still don't go 5 miles per hour out in the ocean. We're still using the knot system. And not just for boats, but we're also using that for planes. Okay? Planes, they go by knots instead of by miles per hour. That's how you determine your speed with the plane captains.
And it's a good reason why we use knots on the sea and in the air, because one latitude grade is 60 nautical miles. So 1 nautical mile is 1 latitude minute. So knots corresponds with the size of the Earth. But in Kyle Adams' confused world, that proves in some mysterious way that we live on a flat Earth. Okay, that was all for this time. I will be back soon. Have a nice day. See you. Bye.